Dan Illman, Mike Beer kicking off the first leg of a 50-cent pick five at Gulfstream Park on Pegasus World Cup Saturday. Race number 9, the grade 2 inside information. Fillies and mares going 7/8 of a mile. Let's take a look at this field named after the great Phipps mare and Mike Beer's favorite racehorse, inside information. Not sure there are any inside informations in this year's edition of the inside information, but after all is said and done, it could be a good betting race.
Really? You're not sure that there are
Not
any
sure.
inside informations in this race? I got news for you. There aren't. But you're right. It's a pretty good betting race, Dan, mostly because I don't even know who I would consider the horse to be in here. Is it Intrepid Daydream?
Intrepid Daydream made her first start for Safi Joseph and ran quite well, albeit as the beaten favorite in the Sugar Swirl. Gerrymander, Mary Quite Contrary, they all have solid races, but maybe we're looking for an up-and-comer. Maybe we're looking with a horse with a pace advantage. Can Timeform US help us out? We throw up the pace projector. Sassy Nature is Southern California's speed. The problem is most of Sassy Nature's races have come on turf. I still think she's going to show that zip on the dirt. We'll see if she wants 7.
I agree. I think she'll show speed here. We'll see about the 7 furlongs. It's at least worth noting that she broke her maiden on dirt early on with an 88 Beyer speed figure. Dan, she can handle the surface.
Dreamster is the horse with the LP flag over her number 6 Chicklet. That indicates the fastest Timeform US late pace rating. We'll kick things off with the number 1, Bluefield, a horse that's been very consistent in her career. She was 5th in the Sugar Swirl last time out without much of an excuse, Mike, but on her best day, going 7/8 of a mile, she's solid at Gulfstream Park. She's very consistent. I just wish she ran a little better last time.
We'll see if she's, a true graded stakes kind of horse, tags. I think that's the real question in front of her here. The Princess Rooney, sort of late last year, she ran fine, but she wasn't really a factor in the late stages last time. All she could do was chase behind that front running winner. She was making up ground at the end. I thought she ran fine, but she was never a real threat to win. I like her as a horse. She's improved since Safi has taken over the training. Her win 2 back going this distance. I know it was a weaker field. I thought she ran great that day. If she gets the right trip in this race, I think she could pull off a little bit of an upset.
Number 2 is 2-Item Saver, who has won all 3 of her sprint starts for trainer Nacho Correas, including a synthetic race last time out at Turfway Park, where I thought she ran pretty well. She rallied from off of it, handled the surface just fine. She aired on dirt 3 starts back at Keeneland, going 7 furlongs. So she's all upside potential, and maybe if she takes a step forward, she's the right one to have at a decent number.
Yeah, I agree with all that. I think this is, more than anything else, it's the kind of race where I don't think you mind taking a horse who's lightly raced with upside, stepping up in class for the first time. Her form overall is really good. She's not that far off of these horses in figures. I would not be surprised if she runs well in here.
The 3 Intrepid Daydream was the scourge of the Maryland-bred Distaff Sprint set, winning 4 in a row before being privately purchased and sent to Safi Joseph. She ran second in the Sugar Swirl as the favorite in this race. She got wired by a pretty good speedster in Spirit Wind, and she had to be hustled out of there to try to stay close to the pace. I just think stretching out to 7 is going to be better for her. She's this big giant mare. She's got to weigh at least 1,200 pounds, and I think she's not going to have to work as hard to get early position and be put on a hard chase throughout.
Those things are all probably true. She runs fine in here. I didn't necessarily want to take her out of that performance, but maybe I'm just being too hard on her, Dan. I kind of wanted Bluefield out of that race, trying to close. You saw her at the end there on the far outside, making up ground. I don't know. I mean, I didn't love her in here. I guess I could let you talk me into her. She spent a lot of time on your circuit. If you liked her, maybe I'd throw her in, but I just wasn't a big fan.
She's out of here as the number 4, taking a big step up in class. She won last time out, but for a $12,500 price tag, she showed good tactical speed that day. She's going to have to do a lot better.
Yeah, there are a lot of horses in here. I think you could spend your time well trying to make a case for at a price. This wasn't one of them.
Music City Star is up next. Another horse coming into this race in sharp form. Jenna Antonucci did a very good job with this horse, taking over the training, returning her from a lengthy layoff, and Tyler Gaffalione gave her a great ride. There was just not a lot of pace in this race. Music City Star got to the front. They ran 1-2 around the track.
Exactly. I mean, it helps when, the other speed in the race, that horse to her outside there is the other speed. It's also trained by Jenna Antonucci. That horse broke running, didn't go for the lead, let this horse have it, and then she's pretty game here to fight that horse off through the stretch. Nothing about this performance made me want to bet her back against this field.
Dreamster's another lightly raced sort that might be able to take a step forward. Another one in good form, stepping up off a second-level allowance victory at Tampa Bay Downs, going 7/8 after a couple of tries on turf. She's in behind horses under urging, turning into this stretch, and I think this pace came back to her a little bit.
Yeah, I do too. The trip really works out. They're a little tired in front of her, but she takes over pretty easily here in the late stages, Danny. She's clear under the wire. Very late to change leads, but she was much the best in this race. I won't knock it. Since her career debut, she's 4 for 6 in her career sprinting on dirt, Dan. This is the right kind of race to run her in.
Sassy Nature, the number 7, is the speed of the race. Back with Jack Sisterson. This horse is a stakes winner on turf at Gulfstream Sprinting. But you mentioned the maiden win at Santa Anita on dirt, 88 by her speed figure, and the only dirt start after that was against the boys. She is going to probably be on the lead in here. I have some concerns about the 7, but if they leave her alone, she might be very tough to catch.
She's a real wild card in this race. I don't think I'd be interested in taking any kind of short price on her, and maybe she just gets bet off of her turf form, which is actually pretty good. But if she's, not one of the 2 or 3 favorites in this race, I could easily see her getting to the lead and being really tough to run down.
Cutting back in distance could be key for the 8. Jerry Mander has been running in several route races. She won the Mother Goose back in 2022. It's hard to know what kind of form she's in. She won a match race 2 starts back in the off-turf Noble Damsel by 1,000,000 lengths. That was basically a workout. And then last time out in the Gopher Wand, she caught a muddy track, and I don't think she liked it at all.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I don't care about the last race. I'm not her biggest fan, and I'm not sure that she's, truly a top horse, although she is a grade 2 winner. I think the most interesting thing about her, Dan, is that Chad Brown basically never sprints her. He sprinted her off the layoff as a 3-year-old. She had an impossible trip at Churchill and actually ran okay. And then they sprinted her off the layoff last year. They put her on the lead and she got tired. They never go short with her. I'm actually interested to see what she does here going 7.
Another horse turning back to 7 and should appreciate it is the 9, Mary Quite Contrary, who is a horse for course at Gulfstream. She's won 7 of 9 here with 2 runner-up efforts, including this race in the Rampart last time out. And it wasn't a ton of pace going a 1-turn mile for her off of a short layoff, but she shows her class as the favorite and gets it done.
Yeah, the trip works out, and she is really game here to close this thing down at the end. She's also just happens to be the best horse in this race. So that helps. Her Princess Rooney 2-back was also fine. This distance had a lot of ground to cover in the stretch, and she couldn't quite get there. I like her as a horse, Dan. I don't really want a super short price on her here, especially with her running style.
Maybe Olivia Darling's one of the horses you're supposed to take out of the Sugar Swirl. We talked about how they ran 1-2 around the track. Olivia Darling was making up some late ground as well to finish 3rd in her first start off of a short layoff. Now we'll see if that kick is going to be as potent going 7. She's versatile enough to adapt to any sort of pace scenario, so I could see her setting up shop outside, stalking in the clear.
I agree with all that. I can see her getting the right trip in this race. She should be forward, even if she's not on the lead. I rad sticks here off of a pretty good performance last time. I don't love her, but I'm not way against her.
Let's take a look at our top selections for the grade 2 inside information. You made a very compelling case for Bluefield, and she's been consistent throughout her career, and she's going to be a good price. I'm going to want to use her in any kind of multis. I think you'll get a good price.
Yeah, I think so too. It's all about whether she, really classes up here in a graded stakes race. That maybe she's just not quite good enough to contend here. But I like her overall form. I thought she ran fine last time, and I really like the win 2-back over this distance.
Like you, I like the horses coming out of the Sugar Swirl. I think Intrepid Daydream's just a rock solid horse. I think getting back out to 7 is going to be key for her. 6 might be sharp against these sort of graded stakes types. Curious to see what we get from Olivia Darling, second off of a short layoff. 1829 for Mike, 31019 for me. It's the inside information. First leg, 50-cent pick 5, Gulfstream Park, Pegasus World Cup Saturday. Best of luck.